In this video, we'll be covering some mildly interesting but very much useless facts on the topic of outer space. Here are 10 minutes of some of the best ones. If you want to drive a car to the nearest star in our solar system at a constant speed of 70 miles an hour, it would take approximately 356 billion years. In 4.5 billion years, our galaxy will collide with its neighbour, the Andromeda Galaxy, forming an even more massive elliptical galaxy. If we are still alive to witness this event, chances are that we would survive unaffected by this event, since the distances between stars are so vast. All of the planets in our solar system can fit in the distance between Earth and the Moon, with thousands of miles to spare. Many of you might know that Ui Scuti is the largest star that we have ever observed. But did you know that it is far from the most massive? That title would go to R13 6A1, with it being nearly 200 times as massive as our Sun. And it also claims the #1 spot for the most luminous star ever observed. The Voyager 1 probe, which has now left our solar system, is actually expected to outlive Earth, since it most likely won't run into another object or star system for billions of years. It will continue travelling through interstellar space, unaltered and unaffected, whilst Earth will burn up and be thrown out of orbit relatively soon. This one was mentioned in my last video as well, but there is a planet out there which is essentially just one massive diamond. This is theorized to have once been the core of a star, which has had its layers stripped away. However, there are other planets out there with high graphite and diamond composition, which may also qualify as diamond planets. Cold welding is when two metals fuse with little to no heat being applied. This can be a real problem in space, as simply pressing two metals together may be enough to fuse them together. This happens because when there is no air or liquid separating the two metals, the atoms have no way of knowing that they aren't all part of the same object. Contrary to popular belief, going out into the vacuum of space with no spacesuit or protection wouldn't cause your blood to boil, and it's actually a lot less lethal than most people think. Remember, there's only one atmospheric difference between the interior of a space station and the vacuum of space. Divers experience pressure differences 10 times as great as this, so a breach or a hole in a pressurized space station wouldn't be that bad, and you wouldn't get sucked out. In fact, it would just feel like a light breeze as the air slowly bleeds out. The force of the air rushing out isn't anywhere near sufficient enough to trap you or suck you out. And back to the topic of spacewalking without a suit. The reason your blood doesn't boil is because it is trapped in a closed system of constant pressure, your blood vessels. You might feel a little fizzle on your tongue as your saliva evaporates and your mouth would probably dry out. You wouldn't even freeze that quickly, since the only way you can lose heat energy in space is via thermal radiation. This is the slowest way to lose heat, and it would take you several hours to freeze. So if we ignore the hypoxia, you would most likely be fine to spacewalk without a suit on, assuming there is no deadly ionizing radiation and you have an oxygen mask, or some other magical device that can provide you with infinite pressurized oxygen. The color of a star is based on its surface temperature for the most part. The real-life color of a star may not always align with the star's name, however. For example, a red dwarf star would be orange in color in real life, an orange dwarf yellow, and a yellow dwarf like our Sun would be white. The speed of light has nothing to do with light. It is actually more like the speed limit of the universe, or the speed of causality. Massless particles like photons will only ever travel at these speeds through space, never slower, never faster. A massless particle does not experience time. As they give all their speed to the spatial dimensions, they give no speed to the time dimension. So unlike us massive particles, photons would experience no time from their perspective. From their perspective, the universe is flattened so much that they arrive at their destination before they even leave. From our perspectives, however, photons are flattened and it takes time for them to get to us. The singularity of a black hole is not actually a point of infinite density. Instead, it represents a hole in our knowledge, as our models simply cannot explain what truly happens at the center of a black hole. Infinities such as these ones are big indicators of our model's limitations. There is something known as a Newtonian black hole, or a dark star. This is essentially a black hole without using any general relativity, a pre-Einsteinian black hole. Coincidentally, the radius of these Newtonian black holes would be the same as a Schwarzschild radius of a general relativity black hole. Unlike a GE black hole, however, you could escape these dark stars with enough thrust. These aren't real objects, but instead just fun thought experiments. Our solar system is very odd. Most other star systems we have found have planetary orbits that would fit well between the Sun and Mercury. We are an incredibly spread out star system, and no one really knows why that is. Many people don't like the fact that Pluto is now a dwarf planet, but unfortunately for those people, Pluto is just not that special. If they want to complain about Pluto's title of planet being removed, they should also complain about the multiple other Pluto-sized objects orbiting our Sun, like Eris and Ceres. We'd also have to memorize dozens more planets. At the end of the day, Pluto is just another oversized asteroid in the Kuiper Belt. The Boots Void is a region of space over 300 million light-years in diameter, and is one of the largest known voids ever discovered. It contains around 60 galaxies, when an equivalent region of space of the same size should contain about 2,000. These voids occur naturally as part of the structure of our universe. If you were an alien living in a galaxy in the middle of one of these voids, you would surely feel very lonely and isolated from the rest of the universe. Many of you might have heard of the WOW signal before, a mysterious radio transmission that some scientists speculate could have had extraterrestrial origins. But did you know that we have beamed out quite a few of our own messages to various star systems and galaxies? One of the first ones was the Arecibo message, sent to NGC 6205. This one contained various information about humans and our planet. Another was Cosmic Call 1, a series of characters sent to 4 nearby star systems. Will we ever get a response? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Saturn has a lower density than water, which means that if you find a large enough swimming pool, it would float like a beach ball. The densest body in our solar system is Earth, with it being 5.5 times as dense as water. Unlike Earth, Venus, our hellish sister planet, does not have real tectonic plates. It does, however, have very small crust-like pieces, and its surface may be more dynamic than initially thought, as it potentially undergoes massive resurfacing events every couple of 100 million years. This would help to explain the craterless surface of Venus.